It's your boy Muhammad, man. It's your boy Move. We out here with BKP, the Broken Kids Project, man. Got the hoodies going, got the beanies going, and I got shirts going. Need a cop up now. I'm telling you. Find that IG BKP, the Broken Kids Project, and if you want to buy, BKP, the Broken Kids Project.com. I'm telling you, man. For anyone who's broken, we're with you, man. Pieces and all. Cop up for real.
Thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Mr. C. Aaron Hinton. It's another episode of Economic Awareness, and I'm here to shoot the breeze with a new guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
Uh, Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me, Clinton. My name is Muhammad Jollah, owner of BKP, the Broken Kids Project, the clothing brand that is designed to bring attention to the trauma that we all face and serve as a safe space for those going through these situations.
Commendable, commendable, commendable. How old are you, bro?
I'm 22 years old.
22 and doing something like that, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Alright, so we here, we shooting the breeze. We basically going to talk about a little bit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And then see where it goes from there. The late great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So yeah, let's just start off with you. Like, what you think about him? What's your personal thoughts, feelings, or whatever?
Honestly, the other day I heard something really interesting about him, and well, not about him, because the considerations of the things that we went through. I feel like nowadays we really take the freedoms that he fought for us to have for granted. Like in 2022, do you know how ridiculous it would sound if we had to really fight to try and get to the same bathroom as a white person, or use the same water fountain, even walk the same streets as them? That's stuff that he was real life going through. Like, we're blessed to the point that we can actually focus on addressing things like mental health, things like that, addressing the trauma that we've been through, really understanding and trying to better ourselves as people with him and people who grew up in his time. It's more, it was really just being in that survival mind state, you understand?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I like, you know who T.D. Jakes is?
TV Jake's not familiar.
Okay, he's a black pastor in the South. That he reminds me, and it's honestly interesting. So he has a way of speaking, Reverend, and it's like a list or something that he has.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't stop him from being a great speech giver. Like, you know, like he even with, like, you would think that a person, you know, like,
That's
say
a
if I was,
hindrance, right? But
yeah,
say that
and
as a strength.
wow, like that's really really amazing.
Yeah. It's funny,
Right.
not to get off topic too much, but it's funny how I feel like people can turn their hand since it's just like in the rap music, Biggie, he actually had a list, and look at him now, he's like, he's a measure of greatness.
I didn't even know he had a list, to be honest. Like,
Exactly.
right.
No time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make the real promises of democracy. Yeah, I feel like that's something that, in a way I kind of live my life by, in the sense of not being able to, not being, I say being able to, like, I don't have the freedom to, but not taking time to relax. This is a time in my life where I feel like I can apply pressure. I feel like I should be applying pressure. I feel like I need to apply pressure in order to really, like, reach out and do what I'm trying to do as far as create that safe space, do my brand, while at the same time having it be like a style of streetwear brand that people can express themselves with. It's like, don't get comfortable just because you got that one hoodie out. Your hoodies match profits. Don't be comfortable because you got them beanies. Everybody like that You always got to be able to. You always have to be willing to push forward. There's always something more you can do. There's always some other area that could be addressed. There's always someone more you could give back to. I feel like I kind of like in the sense that there's more to be done.
Right. They want to see the paperwork now, like,
Yeah.
like they don't want to just give people positions.
And even then, it's like the job pool. Don't you think the job pool would be only limited to what you could get without a degree?
Right.
Like they like to say that that degree opens doors for you, but even then, certain degrees only open certain doors. Like I'll open up a little bit as a graphic designer, somebody with graphic design of the year. That degree school, they can only do so much. You gotta see that work put in too.
Right.
You gotta to show BKP, things like that. You gotta see that portfolio, you gotta see those freelance projects. Have you done website work? Are you able to animate? Things like that.
It was more of your ability, like would you be able
I don't.
to pull a plug on somebody that you love if your mother was really sick or if your grandmother was really, and again, I mean, sometimes money comes into part, like, the money it costs, it's like, yo, it's draining the family, like, we can't afford this, or sometimes money has nothing to do with it, because some people say, I don't care how much it costs, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
like they go, but they go, people who got money,
And even then, like, I feel another thing that I'd have to consider is like the actual person. Like, even though my mom is still spiritually being, my mindset might be, I want to take out my misery. I can't stand to see her like this. She might be, I can't stand to feel like this. Please help me get better. There might still be a light at the end of the tunnel for that person who's going through that. But for you to decide based on how you feel is, to answer your question, I don't think I'd have the ability to do that. Like,
what if the person asked you?
if they were to ask, I think that would be even then it would really take a lot. Like I feel like if they were to ask me to, that might be the wrench that makes me pause and go, if it's for this person, if that's what they want. Because at some point, and this is just like, this kind of going into just like one of the things I'm trying to tell myself. At some point, when it comes to people, it's not always about you. You can only do so much, but until you're in that person's shoes, you can't really understand.
Alright, so I wanted to bring up this guy here, Dr. Kevorkian, because everyone, as it pertains to euthanasia, I think that he was like the most well-known person as it pertains to this topic. And it's like he was an American pathologist and euthanasia proponent. He publicly championed a terminal patient's right to die by physician-assisted suicide, and embodied in his quote, "Dying is not a crime." Kevorkian said that he assisted at least 130 patients to that end. Yeah, 130 people he killed. I mean, well, I guess, yeah, he did euthanize, right? Yeah. Alright, yeah, because that's what he's trying to convince, to convey to people, like, it's not the same thing as murder.
But in my case, that's actually kind of scary for me to think about. Because, like, at what point,
These were people who came to him.
all 130 of them,
I'm pretty sure they came to him. You go to the doctor, don't you? The doctor don't come to you. Like, you go to the doctor, and you can pick which doctor you want to go to and which one you want to see. These people knew what the hell he was doing. Some of them went to him specifically for this.
yikes.
Because he was the only doctor willing to do it. You understand? Like, there's a lot of doctors that like, yeah,
I already know if I was on
BKP, like,
Yeah, so EKP, the Broken Kids Project, again, as I mentioned before, is a clothing brand that I came up with last year. I think like in a couple days actually, it's a year.
so this is fairly new.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah. I feel the main thing that I wanted to do was really represent like mental health problems, trauma, things that people fight behind closed doors. And when I say trauma, that doesn't always have to be in the mental and the mind. It can be physical as well. Some people might be going home and pardon my English, getting their ass like on some real. I think I need to. I feel it's my mission as a designer to really bring attention to the things that people might go through and say it's alright. Like it's normal. It's normal to have gone through these things. It's normal to wear these things on your sleeve. Those experiences might have shaped you into the positive or negative, or the person that you are today. And there's nothing really wrong with, repping that I'm not perfect. I'm broken. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's
And
what I really want to emulate.
who would you say your target population is?
I'd say around people, I'd say, if we're talking ages, I'd probably talk from like teenagers, 14, 15, to people my age, 19, 20, and even older adults as well. The reason that I say, like, when I say older adults, like 35, 40-ish, maybe even 50, if you don't have things figured out, can make you feel a lot better. It's funny, like, the place that I wasn't mentally when I first made this thing, I was kind of like, you just going through anxiety trying to figure out what you want to do in life as far as school, what the future holds as far as relationships. Am I gonna have kids? Am I gonna be an XYZ woman? 1, 2, 3. Am I ever gonna find what I'm meant to do in life? But I think that's kind of what put this whole thing together. Like just that uncertainty, and knowing that I'm really uncertain as to what's going on. I'm able to wear that on my sleeve, and now I've actually felt a lot better than I have felt in years. Like, awesome, it's like I'm able to talk about these things now. I'm able to wear that on my sleeve. I'm able to say I'm not perfect.
Right.
And hopefully, like, as I go on through life, maybe if I'm going through bumps in the road, I can talk about that too. Like, you know?
So I was gonna ask you about cloning and your feelings towards cloning.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I'm not going to. We'll get back to, but I did because you kind of tapped into it as you was explaining what DKP stands for. The topic of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at with that?
Honestly, it's like, there's a bit of complication with it, the way I see it, because it can go both ways. And I feel as men, like me as a man, I would never put my hands on a woman, but I feel it's also important. And when I say this, I really don't want to like gaslight anybody and like say that your experiences don't matter, but I feel it's important that we as men be able to come forward and say, like, if I'm in situations where somebody is domestically abusing me, like I'm with an abusive girlfriend who likes to hate on you, things like that. As men, as black men especially, working this shit, like, nah, but you gotta take that, like he slapped me, but like, I don't know about that, but like, things like that. You gotta be able to like hold that on your shield, but like, if it's bothering you, you gotta be able to speak up about things like this, and that goes for both genders as well. I don't want to make this just about me, because like, I want to be able to encourage people to speak on these things. Like, it really goes back to that core mission of wearing that trauma on your sleeve, because it's like that could influence somebody, not even just through wearing my brand, but just seeing what I have going on. Like, you're able to see that he doesn't have things perfect. He's going through his own things. Maybe it's funny because like the way I talk about this thing, I kind of like to have this universal message, but it's really an interpersonal thing with me too. You know, going back to domestic violence victims, I really want to feel I can empower somebody to speak if they're going through these situations, and that's a lot easier said than done.
And what about the abuser?
Yeah. Like the abuser is someone who's actually engaging in an act of domestic violence. See, that is an interesting one because I'm a strong believer in empathy. Like, when it comes to treating people certain ways, like, if you don't want that done onto you, don't do it onto others. Or if you're gonna, like, just think for a second. It might even be to the point where, like, it's kind of a question, like, you think so much of other people, like, trying to feel about stuff. But yeah, like, for the abuser, I'd say like just carry that sense of empathy. I don't know how in the mind of somebody who might be abusing somebody, I feel like there's just a disconnect there. Like I might not be able to. This person, they're strong enough. They, what I'm doing, I ain't even bothering now. Who cares about them anyway? But that's not the truth. Like even if you're not seeing that, even if that person isn't coming to you, because like obviously you're abusive, you might not even think that your behavior is abusive, but you really gotta think like it takes a lot to like really step back and go, hold on, am I wilding right now? Like I'm beating this boy up right now, but like, am I doing too much? I'm beating my wife up right now. I'm giving her a slap across the face. She ain't saying nothing about it, but hold on, I might have to, you know.
Now domestic just means in the home, right? It's not always lovers or spouses or it could be like two brothers fighting or a mom beating her daughter or like it could be anything that's just going on within the household is considered domestic violence. It doesn't always have. I mean, we always think immediately, oh, my husband beating his wife, but it's
it
like
could be your brother fighting your brother.
right. It could be
Your pops beating the kids.
So now with all that being said, I want to also like, do you think it's different in a same-sex relationship?
In a same-sex relationship, I still feel it's the same because I still feel it goes back to actually. I don't want to say it's completely the same because as I'm talking my experience as a black man. Let me put on the black men have been through this hat for a second. As black men, we're conditioned to be a little bit more tough and fight back. Whether that be a woman abusing us in our life, whether that be somebody steps to you, somebody steps to you, bro, you got square up for me. Like, but in that sense, when it comes to a same-sex relationship between two men, there could be that sense of not backing down. Like you're automatically conditioned to be strong. That fighting you, bro, fight back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say the world we live in. I'll be a little bit frank. The world we live in, maybe when it comes from one, but at the same time, it's like
it's two females.
Yeah,
like
like we're talking two women, so it's like maybe there is like a similarity. Maybe there's not. Like when it comes to same sex, it does kind of boil down to the same. Like this girl stepping to you, you fight back. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not a fan of violence, period, at all. Like whether it's domestic, foreign, outside, like I'm really just not a fan of violence. I feel like as a human being, we should all be able to be civilized and have a discussion, a conversation.
It's funny.
About
It's funny, like what I'm about to say. I'm sorry to cut you off. But it's funny as someone who's grown up. Like I took boxing training when I was in the 10th grade, and I've been doing karate since I was 7 years old. Actually, I had a black belt, but
so you flexible too, or you just
somewhat like every morning. I'm gonna give y'all some advice right now. Every morning, do some stretches. I'm telling you, like, do a little arm, do a little 1, 2, touch your toes, things like that. It does wonders for you.
I used to actually, to be honest, and then I'm just kind of got lazy. Some mornings I don't even get out of bed. It depends on the day, of course. But hey, when you're self-employed, you get to make those kind of decisions.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, about that. You was saying, was you going off was it still domestic violence?
Oh yeah, about violence, like at some
you said
practice,
that
like karate, boxing, and things like that. I'm actually a big fan of like the UFC, but
you like MMA?
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Yeah, like one of the fighters on there. Have you ever heard of Israel Adesanya?
Honestly speaking, I don't get into like the specifics. I'll just you know, like if it's on the TV, I probably don't even keep the audio on. I just would probably watch the video. You know,
Yeah.
it can get a little gory for me.
Yeah.
So like I really don't feel comfortable watching people beat on people.
Yeah.
But the only reason I could watch it there is because it's a sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's not like it's an unfair advantage. You understand? Like
Yeah.
usually they pair people up with people who are in the same weight class and
do
you know
the same type of thing.
right. You know, so it's kind of like a fair fight. You know.
It's your boy Muhammad, man. It's your boy Move. You out here with BKP, the Broken Kids Project, man. Got the hoodies going, got the beanies going, and I got shirts going. Yeah, cop up now. I'm telling you. Find that IG BKP, the Broken Kids Project, and if you want to buy BKP, the Broken Kids Project.com. I'm telling you, man. For anyone who's broken, we're with you, man. Pieces and all. Cop up for real.